Alright, Diablo players, SpiritBorn is getting a nerf. Basically, it seems like a build may no longer exist very soon. So this was just fresh off the press over here. We got Pez Radar. Anyways, there's some quick update over here. I'm just going to briefly go over this. So pretty much what it comes down to is there is going to be a patch coming out this afternoon/evening, and this was posted today. So there is going to be a patch that comes out today that's going to have some crash-related items and some of the hot button items from the weekend. And I will go over some of the things that hopefully, fingers crossed, will be actually on this part of the patch. Now, on top of that, there is also going to be a nerf to the SpiritBorn Evade build. So what's causing some sort of issues is basically people are going to be lagging when there are maybe too many projectiles on the screen, and this is causing an issue with stability. So because of that, they are going to be hitting this bug because the build was essentially a bug. I guess it was never intended to exist that way. And then on top of that, this will not be today for the SpiritBorn Evade, but I want to kind of go over kind of how the Diablo community feels, and I want to kind of address something because I think it's very important that we go over this, as well as some other bugs that we're going to talk about. So for starters, a lot of people are actually very upset. I've definitely seen a lot of people be very vocal in here, as well as Reddit, saying that, oh, I got a good build, and then you nerf it, and then people are going to be quitting the game again. There's obviously a lot of people that are saying they're quitting, but let's be honest, most people just say that, right? The Evade build is the most fun. Okay, watch your player numbers plummet. Like, people are upset about this, how to lose, you know, the hype for anything, and I totally get it. Launch a new expansion, have a class, have a really fun build, and then nerf the things. Now, this has definitely been a thing with Diablo 4 in terms of like the history of the game. However, there have been builds that definitely have just kind of made it through. Like if you guys have played my rogue build that literally one-shot anything in the entire game. Heck, we had a Thorns Barbarian build that on the PTR we could one-shot even the highest pit boss. Now, this isn't a nerf specifically for the build itself. It's, again, remember, for stability issues causing the servers to kind of interact bad. But if you guys remember Ball Lightning, that would cause the game to like super lag out, and you know, that's a kind of a nicer change to not have people lag out. But you can see this person here saying SpiritBorn is a joke for the character players. He's 100,000 times stronger than everything else, whatever. And so again, the best SpiritBorn build, though, to go over it, this is not even nerfing the best build. The best build, as far as we are aware of, is still like the Quill Volley build. But I actually just really hope that they actually listen to this guy over here. I think that they need to buff the other classes. I want to go over some of the stats as well. This person saying it's nerfing the only fun build that can barely reach pit 100. And that's true that this build is not the best. And then right now the best one is using a resolve/barrier bug, which I have the build guide if you guys want that. I don't know if that's going to get nerfed. They haven't said anything. But if we look at like the numbers here in terms of how high the classes are actually pushing on the pit over here, we see that the SpiritBorn has just actually recently cleared 150. We actually dropped a build last night that cleared a 147, and basically it is using the resolve/barrier bug. But basically what it comes down to is the SpiritBorn has cleared out a 150 at the time of me making this video, but the other classes are at about 100. Sorceress actually being the furthest behind. Oh wait, it's only 3 higher than the Druid, so it looks like the Sorc and the Druid are definitely going to be further behind. But I'd really like for them to just buff the other classes for this, just to make people get a little bit more excited. So sure, something that we like gets nerfed, but at least buff up other things, because again, SpiritBorn, like the other person said, I was like 10,000, 100,000 times better than the rest. Remember, every single time that you're going up a tier, it's so much more HP that these monsters have, which is kind of actually backwards, because they said they wanted to scrunch the numbers down, but if you scrunch the numbers down, why do you have monsters with quadrillion, million, trillions of HP? It just doesn't make sense for the game philosophy. But anyways, this person's saying like no fun allowed. Again, I'm trying to give you guys the mindset. They're not trying to nerf the best build in the game. They're trying to actually fix stability, which is actually kind of more important. I think what they should have said is that we're going to try to make the class as good as it currently is, so you don't feel the nerf. You may not get as many evade animations, but the build will still perform the same. I think that that communication would really need to be addressed over here. And this is another person saying Barbarian. I think a lot of people really want to see Barbarian buffs because the class was so overtuned. And even though it's not the weakest class right now, the weakest class is technically Druid and then Sorc, in terms of pushing, but at the end of the day, again, I think that they need to look at some of the, like how this person just says fun detected. So I'm just going to check out some of the comments over here. You call this balancing, just buff SpiritBorn and nerf the other classes again. They're not nerfing the other classes again, though. They're actually just fixing, again, the stability issues. Okay, I see a lot of this over here. Big L, after this update, the build I spent so much time improving, the character weakens. I really quit the game. Okay, so the thing is that I think that there should be some compensation, though. This is the way I see it. If you are going to nerf the players' builds, right? Because people spend, you know, hours, and maybe they took time off of work or whatever, and their favorite build gets nerfed, and they invested time into it. I'm curious to know, how do you guys think about some sort of compensation for this? As in, if you maybe had this, like, you know, build, they would give you a bunch of, like, masterworking material, or you could, like, refund it. I know in, there's a game called Yugioh, and if they, like, nerf certain things, they can give you some sort of, like, a refund on it. So I think that that would be a good thing to kind of consider if they do nerf certain builds. They give you some sort of, like, I don't know, a cash that gives you some other way to build your character, so you're not, like, super far behind. Because again, if they delete this build, the players that invest time into it, well, it's gonna be unfortunate, absolute garbage, liars. I just really want to stress this again, it's just for stability. But there are a few other bugs that I think are very important to go over. So this actually has to do with ancestral gear. So what it comes down to is that if you salvage an Ancestral, you won't be able to increase the aspect power in your codex without upgrading it also coming from an Ancestral. So this is actually kind of another explanation over here, is that specifically do not salvage Ancestral with any aspects under the normal non-Ancestral cap, because once you do, it locks that aspect to only take upgrades from Ancestral salvages. So basically, if you get a roll and then you get a better roll, well, it may not actually go over because it stays at this low value, and this is a very, very important bug, and I think this needs to be fixed over anything else in the game. This applies to every single class, and I was looking at a lot of my gear, and I know in my head, I saw it, and I actually went back and checked. I salvaged a perfect thing that gave us extra ferocity for the SpiritBorn, and then I just didn't have that aspect. It wasn't perfect, and I'm like, I know I had that. So there is a bug, and if you haven't have any perfect things that, again, follow under this category, where if you already have salvaged an Ancestral one and then you're going for like a lower one, it won't count. That will actually be something to consider. So maybe hold on to it. Hopefully this is the patch that will be coming out tonight, but this is actually very important because I experienced this bug myself, and that's a pretty big deal. I think it also has to do with the way that they change the item power, perhaps, and that's kind of something that's tied to it. But next up over here, this person is saying something about the audio. As far as I'm aware, this is more of a console bug, because I've had a couple people ask me, like, how's my audio? Like, fine, I'm having this issue. This, I think, really needs to be highlighted. Hopefully me as a Diablo partner, since we do put that hashtag, they're supposed to check our videos. So hopefully with this video, they can understand that we need to fix this audio. There is an audio issue apparently with console that just makes the audio like really weird. Anyways, okay, there's just look, this person complaining about the other thing. But this is another bug over here that I wanted to mention. This has to do with Subo, and it's supposed to be with his special like passive. So if any of you guys have played with Subo, he has this ability to reveal things on the map. Now, this is an issue that is very, very annoying, because to fix it, you have to go through 2 loading screens. So hopefully this can be fixed as well. It's when you equip him, you can see all like the materials on the map, and then sometimes it just simply goes away. So hopefully this is another issue that I want them to fix. And again, I'm trying to highlight it here. And then there's also a bug with Varshan where you don't want to fight him with mercenaries, and the reason why is he can get like infinite shields, and then basically you can't kill him, and that becomes a problem. This issue though, I want to let you guys know that Blizzard is aware of this. I've already forwarded this. I've showed him the pictures where Rahir, the NPC, the one that you hire, can actually kill you, which, yeah, that's a very big deal considering he's supposed to give you extra survivability, not kill you. So hopefully this issue will be eventually fixed. Again, if you're playing hardcore, I would not recommend running him. You don't want to run in the situation where he eliminates you. And then again, this person is talking about the upgrades, so hopefully that will be fixed. Now, another issue that is going on right now, and hopefully this one will be fixed again today. If not, well, we're trying to address it. And as far as I'm aware of, they know of this because someone actually posted this over on Twitter, and this guy, well, Don Adams over here, he's the content supervisor. So anyways, this has to do with the seething opals, where like it's just not lasting as long as it should, or like working. So the opals are working but it can be hard to notice in some activities for it to actually work. But there's a tweet over here by Don Adams saying that hope everyone's enjoying it, but some clarification on the Opal. So there's a fix incoming for a bug that sometimes removes the buff. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen it where, like, I thought my buff bar was just, like, too big and it was just, like, just gone because, like, I just had too many buffs. No, it's just getting straight up deleted, apparently. And so I wasn't crazy when I'm like, okay, you know, what happened to my buff? So I don't know what causes this bug, but make sure that you guys always happen to have a seething opal, and sometimes, yeah, it just goes away. Kind of sucks, but that's the reality of the game right now. And then there's another thing that I think is very interesting, is for you guys to check your boots in particular. You can get items with no implicit, he says suffix here, but he's basically showing off that it has no implicit. Usually there's be something with evade, but you can get items that would drop, or I guess from the mercenary, that actually are missing stats. This is a pretty big issue. Another thing I wanted to go ahead and just kind of mention, I've already technically mentioned it to Blizzard directly, because as a Diablo partner, we have like a line of communication to Blizzard, and I've already mentioned this to them, but there is also something that is very annoying, and that is the Citadel rewards for the materials drop 3 Forgotten Souls, and we're talking about Tormented 4 difficulty, and in the world, yeah, that's what you were getting from the materials. 3, I promise you, is not the number that should have been dropping. So hopefully this will also be fixed in the future, but those are the known issues and bugs, and that's going to be the SpiritBorn. This is actually our first nerf, I think, with the SpiritBorn, but again, take it with a grain of salt, because, again, they're not nerfing it because it's the best build and it's super OP. They're nerfing it because of stability, and I totally understand that. But they really should have said, hey guys, we're going to ramp the damage so it's the same. Because remember how they changed the lightning spear, so they nerfed it, but they also gave it a buff. Hopefully we can get something kind of in the middle ground so we don't have lag and we don't lose out on the build. But anyways, that's the new update and what I wanted to go over for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, drop a like on it. If you're new here, hit subscribe, turn that bell, and I'll update you guys what actually does get fixed, whether they drop the patch later tonight or if it gets delayed or something. I'll let you guys know. Anyways, take care. I'll just catch you guys in the next video. If you want the best SpiritBorn build, I'll link the video as well, because don't worry, if this one gets nerfed, you have something way better to play anyways.